welcome to One on One. My name is Bridget Otu. Thank you very much for joining us. Today on One on One, we're talking all things football. We might just chip in, maybe lesser known sports, just a tad, but really our main conversation is about saving Ghana football. There's a demonstration happening on the 14th of February aimed at putting pressure on GFA management and anyone connected to it, and even the Ministry of Sports, to look at what is happening there, the corruption, the rot. And a guy who has decided to put his face out, he has received flags, not for doing the wrong thing, but for simply standing up to the powers that be, the cabal, the mafia, they call them. His name is sensational. Anytime I hear his name, Obama, when you hear Obama, you're thinking, yes, Barack Obama. So when you hear Obama, you're always hearing great things. He is the Obama of sensational sports. He is the Obama of honest sports. My guest is Saddick Adams.
Hi.
Saddick Obama, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Bridget.
No, it's an honor to have you.
Thank
How
you.
are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing fine. I've been in the system just within my small corner, and I come out occasionally, but
yeah,
been fine. Yeah.
Okay. How is this whole 14th February, there's a protest or demonstration coming on to save Ghana football? When you came out to talk about it, a lot of things have happened since. One is that your account was blocked by the Ghana Football Association official Twitter account, and their lawyer came out and said, it was a mistake. I want you to walk me through, one, the block, and the response from lawyer Prosper, and if they've engaged you personally.
Well, thank you very much. I think that I never expected to be blocked. I have been with the team, the Ghana Football Association. Practically everybody within the football system is my friend, because for 16, 17 years I've been around this game, from Sunyani, Kumasi, and these are people that I started with from clubs to the GFA, so I quite know them beyond the game. But what I stand out to do is not to be influenced by, because football is globally is a game of, a lot of scandals. It's a game of crooks, like they say. So I don't want to be manipulated or influenced by the little perks and handouts. So when somebody does something wrong in the game, you have to tell them in the face. And when I go back from air into meetings with them, and they are surprised that you are saying this to me on air, and 20 minutes later you are calling me on phone to talk about it. I said, you are on the field working, and that's my field too. So I saw a tweet by the FA that I read. I had been following, because it's an account that followed me.
Right.
Before that, they had blacklisted me on there when Mr. Nyantechi was there.
Okay.
And when the new association came, they followed me.
And they thought things would be different with you.
Yeah, things will be different.
We'll talk about the prior one. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, so I woke up after the AFCON.
Right.
I've been very vocal about the embarrassment. Once was okay, twice, thrice at the end of the World Cup, 2 African Cup of Nations. I felt that the national team is so illustrious. Some have fought with their sweat and toil to get to that level where you step foot on every country's soil and they say Ghana football. You mentioned that you are from Ghana at the immigration, and they mention footballers. And we don't need to sink that deeper. So I said, no, there's something that needs to be done extraordinarily beyond talking. So I will organize a protest. And protest in the 21st century is supposed to create awareness, basically, and shape, not even going about individual people, but shape government policy.
Yeah.
So when I started Save Ghana Football, together with some of my colleagues in the industry, I thought that it was something small to get people involved and not business as usual.
Sure.
After the AFCON, everybody talks, and 1 week we go back to the same setting. So this time, let's walk on the street and say, speak to the president of the country, the first supporter, the GFA president. I've gotten messages from all walks of life, negative and positive, attacks and all that. But when I woke up and saw the tweet by the FA, I tried to follow up. The next minute, I saw tweets unavailable. So I thought that
they had deleted
the tweet.
Right.
There could be only 2 reasons.
Yeah.
They had deleted, or they have blocked
you. Yeah.
So then I went to their handle and saw that you have been blocked from accessing information. Or I said, how? It's a GFA account, not an individual.
Okay.
So I waited for an hour, actually. So if
To see if it was a mistake.
Or something. I waited for an hour. I kept on refreshing. Then I will click on GOC or Ghana Boxing to see if I'm still on.
if there's a twin tower block.
Yeah, of course. But I was accessing all of them. After 1 hour, 30 minutes, then I said, oh, Henry is my friend, my brother. Kurt is like a brother.
Sure.
So I just had to tag them that whoever is in charge, tell them that I'm part of the football. I'm a stakeholder. So they can't block me from accessing. But if it is truly a policy or decision, then thank you. That's what I wrote.
Yeah, I saw that.
Then I saw that people jumped on that and the backlash was huge. Yeah. I entered classroom for 2 hours. I came back and it was everywhere.
Blown up. Yeah.
The bloggers. And I said, but this is, somebody blogged me and I'm thanking them.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened. But I saw Prosper reach out to me on WhatsApp with his tweets.
Sure.
He took a screenshot of his tweets to me. And I saw it, so I had to go and respond that, okay, sure. I understand if it's an error. Then the GFA social media handler
account
also called me. I saw his call.
So you know the person behind the account?
Yes.
But why is the person emotional?
No, he's a friend. I never thought that the person would do that if there was no order from above or something.
And what did he say about that?
He said it was an error on his part. And I think it's...
I mean, Saddick, you and I have been on social media for a long time. It cannot be an error because to block someone, you have to click on their profile, right? And look for the block button and click on it. Or what, he was spying for information.
Your daughter can pick your phone and search for it. I don't have contrary evidence to what they are saying, so I agree. And
you want to accept the explanation?
Yeah, I have to accept. I don't have anything to do because it's their handle. Even though it's a Ghana football, it's their handle. So that's how it happened.
Okay. What do you think happened? What was it that happened under Nyantechi where you were blacklisted? What happened?
I had been like this. I write things, I try to expose things that I know. I go and read about how much FIFA has sent to the FA and I go to the ground to check if it's reflected. I've been like this ever since. So when these things are being written and I go to African Cup, I think it's getting better now. It will start again. When I go to the African Cup of Nations and you go to the team hotel, you look like a stranger. Even your colleague journalists want to.
They will shun you, because that's the guy.
Sometimes, I feel so embarrassed, but then I also feel unique because you cannot be on the same platform with people and have the same thoughts and ideas. You always have to stay true to your convictions. To me, so when I attend press conferences you can't even ask questions. And when people see you, they say you're coming to cause problems. But naturally, as a person, I'm very reserved.
No, so, I know.
There is a difference between like a double personality. When I'm on air or I'm on this job, they see a different person when they meet me. Because
you're speaking with passion because you care about the country.
Exactly.
I mean, really.
Exactly. So during Nantesi's time, the same thing happened after AFCON. I will come back and say, we didn't need to send this amount of money. And I started this thing of Zambia is sending this. They were not publishing, but I'll go and ask a journalist friend and say, get to your parliament and how much did you approve for AFCON? We are on the same pedestal in terms of economy, or you are even better.
Right.
Why are we sending this, and why are our people also budgeting 10 times what you sent to the same AFCON, or even played many more matches than we did? And this is where I get the understanding that if you all work in the same institution and one person is budgeting for the same show, another is doing
1.5
extremely more, then it means that there is some under-dealings. And you have to expose these things. So this is why I got blacklisted generally. I get to the hotel sometimes and somebody will sneak in and say, he's coming, don't open. Security officials, they won't touch me. I'm not sure anybody else.
But you just won't be allowed to enter where the
and you won't feel comfortable.
Right.
You will never feel comfortable. There are press conferences that you will never be invited, no matter how high you rise, and you will never get friends. It's an industry. You need to have friends. You need to go to the stadium and feel free to talk to people. If you don't have that, it's difficult staying and. So you're sort of ostracized
within the even the journalism industry, football fraternity, just because you have decided to walk a certain path, as in not to be bought by either side.
Definitely, even if you have friends in there, not being bought by money or something, but if you have friends and you tell them, and I make sure that I will tell you behind the scenes, this is not good. This is what you have to do. I'm not trying to say I know better than you, but when I go out there, this is what people are saying. I think you should have done this. If they don't listen, I also work. It's like a footballer. You train and you come to work. I see that my training is telling you behind closed doors. If you don't accept the criticisms, then I come on air because I don't think that the people who follow me on social media will be, and they are very important to me, not the people in authority. The people who follow you and know your principles. And coincidentally, yesterday was the day they blocked me, the GFA blocked me, was exactly 8 years that I had written extensively about the AFCON budget. And everything that I had said there was still relevant on the day that they blocked me. So I said, it's not against any individual. This has been my stance for 15 years. It's not changing today and it's not changing tomorrow. So you are ostracized and you are going to be ostracized for many more years, except you find comfort in the thing you do. You will quit.
Are you able to separate a fan and a sports journalist when you're working? Because, I mean, I'm a big fan of football. I love football. So I speak with passion. Are you able to separate that?
Yeah, I separate it by being, there are two lines. Being objective and being passionate. I am very objective about the Ghana Black Stars. What I do now is being objective about their setup, their play, their formation, and their organization, their leadership. I say it as it is. But when they step on the field, I'm not objective. When Ghana plays Nigeria, I am not objective. When I enter the African Cup of Nations Media Center, I get so much flack from journalists from other countries because they know how I troll them. Football is about troll. It's a banter sport.
I know, I'm guilty.
Yes, of course. So when I see Kenyan journalists there and I go there, I call the Kenyan journalist, call the Zambian journalist, say, you guys, you've been to more African Cup than your national team. What are you doing here? So when Ghana plays, they are always on my neck. So I don't want the national team to lose. I can criticize them constructively, but I am not objective. So I'm so emotional when they play. I was emotional about the team before I became a journalist. That was what, drove me into the job. So my passion and drive is, I started watching football when I was like 5-6 years. My dad was a staunch Kotoko fan, Black Stars, and mentioning players' names. So this is why I go into do documentary of Robert Mensah, Baba Yara.
I've seen that.
Because my dad spoke highly about them, and I want to do, some bit of documentary why these people were never documented, why they are not in the archives. So it's from my upbringing, and I started listening to radio, TV, sports, like 7-8 years. I have been in it, being passionate about my Bofuakwa, BA United, Kotoko, Hearts of Folk, Black Stars. I am not objective when they are playing. I want one to win. I can report objectively, but I have where my heart is. And with Black Stars, it's almost like it's natural. It comes to you naturally because, I'm a Ghanaian. Who am I going to support? You don't choose
even where to be born. I know,
you
right?
don't choose your national
If I'm watching, yes, I may be angry at the team, but deep down I know I want them to win.
There was a video from the AFCON where I was mad when the Mozambicans equalized. The video was taken on my blind side by a Ugandan journalist.
Oh, okay.
Because before the game, they were sending me messages that Ghana will go home today. And I said, if we go home, I will quit journalism.
Oh.
Sometimes you because football is that's what, when you win, the passion that comes, I'm not sure that anybody is going to give somebody $10 million. Then they remove their shirts and walk in town. But when your national team wins, I have walked for like 10 kilometers without my shoes. I never, when the under-20 won the World Cup.
Oh,
I was still a journalist.
It was, we won 3 penalties.
Yes, with Brazil. These are feelings that you can never describe.
Yeah.
And that is what sports bring. I have my joy in sports. That is my biggest love beyond that. So when the thing is sinking, beyond the economic loss that I suffer as a stakeholder, there is also the bigger one is the emotional. My biggest joy is waking up when Ghana has a game tomorrow and I'm going to sleep. I want the clock to count faster because I want to watch the game.
Yeah.
When my national team plays. So as for me, I know sometimes it's extreme, but I'm so passionate about sports, so passionate about football, athletics, boxing. I cannot choose my national team. So when Ghana plays, I get some extreme sort of joy that I never get from anywhere. People like what they have. I mean, want what they like and they invest in that. I invest my emotions normally in football.
Okay. Has anyone in football, right, ever tried to say, I don't want to use the word, okay, so let's talk about poaching and we'll talk about bribe.
Yeah.
Has anybody in football maybe poached you to say, come and join our communication team? Can you do this for us?
Of course. Clubs, maybe 10
Okay.
or 15 in the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And the national team, like I said, maybe this is the first time I'm saying this because it's become very incumbent that you say it.
Yeah.
Kurt Okreku is like my brother.
Right.
He visited me. I'm not sure any football person has ever stayed with me late nights. He left my house around 2 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah. He stays with me, and before he became the GFA president,
Sure.
very close.
Right.
I used to go to his office like once a month during festivities like Salah. He's a brother. I have nothing against him. He's come to my house, stayed there till 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
What was it for? Was it
There was
conversation building?
Yeah, we build conversations. He comes there. Sometimes we are speaking about football. What do you think we should do? And I have praised him enormously for what he did with Dreams FC. And these things are there for what he did with the MTN FA Cup. I once wrote in 2017 that I see him as a potential GFA president.
Oh, yeah, and it came to pass.
Yeah, it came to pass. He has that because he was building something good. So he's a brother. He called me that he wanted to, and with my godfather, Mr. Randy Abbey, who I salute every time because whatever I have become now is partly due to him. And
it hasn't changed. That's the thing. It hasn't made you like a dog to them. That's the thing.
No.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure they should be proud that they are training.
That you are independent-minded.
I know Mr. Randy Abbey, he does not, I mean, he always wants to stand out. And Kurt Okreku himself was a sports journalist. So these are like brothers. And Randy is not a brother, he's a godfather in the industry. And he's on the executive council. Kurt is the president. And Kurt called me that he wanted to offer me a communications director job. My brother Henry was there. I said, okay, I'll be thinking about it. But I thought that I wasn't psychologically ready. Because it was just at the end of Nyantechi's era. Also at the end of the normalization committee that I had criticized. So you pick up the job. I mean, how do you even go about saying that FIFA money has come, you are using it for something different, when, as a journalist 2 weeks ago, you say it should be used for this? So psychologically, and I think I needed a gap. But if Kurt doesn't like me, he will not offer me a job as close as that.
Right.
And I'm sure, like a brother, he wanted the best for me. I sat back and said I couldn't do it. But it's a very lucrative job, not in terms of money, but to say you are Deputy Communications Director of the GFA. And I'm very grateful. And
you will have opportunities, I guess.
A lot of opportunities that I don't have now.
Right.
Yeah, but I always say I'm grateful to him, Prosper, Harrisonado, himself, Kurt, Dr. Randy Abbey, and a lot of them. They offer a lot of opportunities to me, even now. But the game is the game. Wow.
I have never heard that. But I am trying to just push my mind back to, just imagine, think for a second, Saddick Adams as, no, let me use Obama. I like Obama. Okay, Saddick Obama as the Deputy Communications Director of GFA, and then Ghana loses. Okay, just picture him for a second.
But Henry himself is also very passionate.
Okay, yeah. He will be so mad that I'm sure he won't even show up for the press conferences. That's why he did not take the. So you did not take the job on principle.
Oh, yeah, on
you
principle.
You realized that you just couldn't separate that.
At that point, I don't think I was psyched for a job like that, or emotionally and psychologically prepared for that.
Are you still emotionally and psychologically prepared for it?
Now? I don't think so.
So you don't regret rejecting that?
Not at all. I will offer any kind of support. And not to say you are overblowing your importance, but I travel out of the country and there are people who are proud of what you do for Ghana football.
Right.
So that is also my contribution. you don't need to be in position to contribute. That's what I believe. So I can contribute.
But you're already in position, not a GFA role, but you're in position as a journalist.
Yeah, that's a bigger position.
Right.
If I see something and I can text my brother Henry, I think we need to correct this. I see something and I text Amino, we need to do this. Even in boxing, GOC, Benuno Mensa, everything. When I find something, I try and say, let's correct. I'm not going out to criticize because you are a friend. So I will send to you, then we try to rectify. That's my contribution from behind.
Okay. So it's one-on-one here with Saddick Obama. We're taking our very first break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. I have never heard this before, that, Kurt Okreku, GFA president, went to his home, offered him a job, and he looked at the journalist in him and also the big football fan in him and said, look, you know what? I am not psychologically prepared. There was money, it was big, but he thought that, look, I needed to be principled. I needed to be in a space where I could do this job well for them. Really, what the intention was, if I will do it, then I'll do it well for you. But if I'm not mentally prepared to do this and I cannot sacrifice certain principles, then I will not take it. How many of you can do that? We'll be right back. Welcome back to One-on-One with me, Bridget Otu. My guest is senior sports journalist with Angel FM. He has your radio, the YouTube channel is in your name?
Yes.
Saddick Obama or Saddick Adams? Saddick Adams. Oh, why not Obama?
No.
By the way, why Obama? Why Saddick Obama?
Well, dates back like 2006, 2007 when Obama was not the flag bearer yet. I think we was campaigning on the tickets. But he was campaigning on the change mantra. Yeah, and I was in the sports terrain trying to change things. It was about results, announcing the results of matches. And I wanted to go deeper in governance and let's change this. So when people say, you want to change this, you want to change, are you the sports Obama? So they call. Even before Obama became president, 2007 thereabout. So are you the sports Obama? Then they call it sports Obama on air. I tried to stop
remember.
it.
Yes, I've heard that name. So I always thought, it was sports Obama.
Yes,
I remember that's what I heard.
I tried to stop it, and the more you try to stop it, the more, they fertilize it more. So I had to stop. But it's a given, from the fans and people who watch the shows, and they will write it when you don't want it. They will say it's sports Obama. When I enter a place, even after 5 years, I've tried to make sure that I completely get rid of it. But I enter an office and a senior person will say it's sports Obama. I say this name is it's long gone, man. That's what you become known for.
I like it because it's sensational. As soon as you mention Obama, something just sparks in your head. Right. So, when was the last time you spoke to Kurt? What does he make of you now, and how you're critical of GFA?
To be very honest, I think I spoke to him. I met him at a GFA event a week before the AFCON or two.
All right.
Yeah. So that's it. At the AFCON, I never saw him.
Because you are sidelined. You can't even go to anything.
Not sidelined.
Okay.
As a principal, I don't want to go to the Black Stars Hotel because of stories I hear.
Okay.
So I go with my camera guy or a reporter. Sure. Except for official press conferences, I don't go.
Okay.
So I heard a story that the chairman of the Black Stars is on a lot of WhatsApp platforms that I am against him being the chairman for the committee looking for a coach because I came to the Black Stars Hotel and he denied me access. And so, and I have never met him before.
Right.
I have never seen him, spoken to him physically. And throughout my stay at in Ivory Coast, I never went to the Black Stars Hotel.
Right.
One time I went there, I gave a power bank to someone in a Uber. So I gave it to the person who was there and drove off. I have never gone there to seek an interview or look, never. So I was surprised. But people hear these stories and they want to taint you in a manner that you lose your credibility. But if anybody has any contrary evidence to this, that I came to the Black Stars Hotel and I was stopped, never. I was never there. But when they see me publishing stories from the camp, which are with smoking gun evidence, they wonder. But there are same people who send it to me.
Right.
Because they know, as for you, if you get this, you will not be afraid
to publish
because this is what we want to read.
Why do you think that happens? Because you are in a group, right? Something is happening, you know it's wrong. Yeah. When you say it, you know that it will not be taken serious, you'll be shut down. So you rather leak it to someone you know is independent-minded. Why do you think that is?
I feel that there is a lot of money in football. So when you want to come out to expose something and get cut off, it's difficult to survive these days. So I understand. And there are people who may not be able to talk because they belong to the management or technical team, but they find things that they don't like or things that they think has resulted in the team declining. And I'm sure that if people find you independent, it feels cool. At least the next time I find something about them too, they should be sure that it will go out. But if I were there, I would still find it difficult to say some of the things I'm saying today. Because one, you are representing an organization, so you cannot go out with your own views and opinions, which I think will be difficult.
Unless you're Baumia, who has currently thrown the president under the bus, saying that, look, the taxes are not me. I was not in support of He-Level. I'm not in support of emission, so he did it to make me president and I'll do something different.
It's very difficult to defend, things like that, you know. So I'm sure that's why people always want to push it to others to do. Yeah.
Okay. What about personal? So we talked about professionally. Maybe a GFA person approach you and say, look, come and work for us. Do this for us. You mentioned that about 10 clubs wanted you to be maybe their communications person. And then you had the privilege of also having you've had a personal relationship with Kurt. What about professional now? Do they offer you, say, has anybody ever approached you and say, look, take this money, don't do this story. Or I beg this one day, I beg drop it. Have you been bribed?
No.
No one has ever tried to bribe you.
I don't
Why?
think
Because
so.
they are afraid you come and say it.
Yeah, not come and say it, no.
Right.
There are things that, like this position, it's in the public domain. Everybody thought that I was going to accept because even people in the GFA knew. So it's on the publications, that's why I'm saying it. Right. But it's not something that I should have said. But it's already in the publication. If you offer me a bribe and you name it, a bribe.
But they may not name it. It's always a gift. No, I gave him something.
No.
They don't come and say, oh, let me bribe you.
The question was that they are telling you to go and stop something. That's a bribe.
That's a bribe, I agree.
But if there is a story, like the Black Stars have failed in Ivory Coast, and you are the communications director of the FA, and you give me $10,000 at a restaurant, we finish eating, and I go, and your intention is that I will not talk. The first thing I will do on air is to start a campaign against the people who supervised of which you are part.
Right.
If you tell me that you take this money to go and do, I won't take. But if you give it to me without any strengths,
I would take it. I will still go and talk about it. I get you.
Of course.
I understand.
So if you give it to me that, my brother, I know you are in school, you need this, I will take it. Yeah, because I am not beyond receiving gifts. But the point is that the gift will never compromise me.
Yeah, and that sets us up for the discussion of a tweet I saw of a colleague journalist who said, oh, the people who are shouting and talking were also taking they are beneficiary of the loot or whatever that they are talking about. Yeah. When journalists, and it's not, by the way, it's not GFA, even government, right? They take journalists on a trip. There are presidential journalists, there are vice presidential journalists, they follow them. And it's not the stations that pay because stations cannot afford to. But they take the journalists there. But those journalists are not bound to report only what they are told by the president or the vice president. They are bound to tell the truth, to report what is happening. So if I'm going to just narrow it to GFA, sending, or the Ministry of Youth and Sports, sending people to, or journalists to Abidjan to report, and they decide to criticize it when they come back. What wrong? What crime?
You've answered the first part of the question already, because you are a journalist and better positioned to understand this. There were over 150 journalists who came with the Moroccan Football Federation. And on what I know from some of my friends, on the item was that they are there to get trained Because when you attend tournaments like this, you are going to see a lot of opportunities, explore, find things that are not in your country, and ideas that can improve your game back home. So the Moroccan Football Federation will say, we are bringing them here to train. We are also hosting the AFCON or maybe Ghana African Games, how they can help in propagating our campaign.
Sure.
If you pay for that, you are not buying their integrity.
Sure.
I did not join the government's lists to Ivory Coast. They were.
Was there a proposition to join for you to join?
Oh no, I have joined before.
Before, okay.
Yes, but this year I flew to Ivory Coast.
Okay.
I got there 2 days before they got there.
Okay.
I stayed in my own hotel.
Sure.
I fed myself. Before this, I have joined them before, the ministry's list, to go to tournaments. Sometimes I go there on my own. They come to meet me. I join them because this is the best place. You are in a foreign land and you want protection amongst your people. So I find nothing wrong. Yeah. This is not where you throw your brothers under the bus because no, they give you $1,000 or $500 to stay throughout the tournament. You are reporting about your national team. You are reporting about events that took place. Because you are a journalist, they expect that you have a wider knowledge base to know things that can help your country. You are writing stories about roads in Ivory Coast that people can be exposed to new things. You are not being bought. And I advise my colleagues, younger ones, that this is not something that is supposed to influence how independent you think. And
so the person who makes that statement is wrong because the person does not even understand the premise on which those journalists are sent.
For instance, Bridget, I have been in this job for, say, 17 or 16 years. And you give me $1,000 to stay in Ivory Coast. And you think that because of that, I am this cheap enough to not talk about the Black Stars failure, which is very evident. I am not...
You don't even need to say it. Like you don't need to be a magician.
Yes, so if you are talking about events that took place constructively, what's wrong? What's wrong with you taking something from government to stay? Because other countries do, and it's like for training. So if you are taking that, you are not corrupt. The fact that you don't allow it to corrupt you, but if you think it is enough, so you won't talk. But if others are talking, it means that they are beneficiaries. They won't talk. I think it's a very stupid position.
But then let's try and walk in the minds of the Ministry of Sports or the GFA who sent such journalists there. In their mindsets, they are expecting a certain favor, which should not be, but it's there because of their reaction to how the journalists respond. Would you not agree that they expect the journalists to write favorably about them?
We do. We actually do. When Ghana wins, we saw it. But when they lose, what favor should I change the scoreline? The thing is in the stadium. You watch on TV. I should come and say that the Ghana team did well by conceding penalties, or the coach did well, or the administration did well by exiting the worst AFCON we've had. It's a fact.
They say sports journalists are always looking for negative stories. They're always in the hotel looking for. They were always looking for bad things to say.
Nobody goes there. One of the biggest problems I had with the administration was they stayed in the same hotel with Nigeria. The fact that I'm saying I didn't go to the Black Star Hotel, physically, I went there for Nigeria. They sent an email that every journalist should come. And I was astounded because I got there, Ahmed, Musa, Victor Osimhen. They are walking around. They see you and say, Charlie, Ghana Jollof, what do you want to ask? The familiarity that you built.
So you got better reception from Nigerians.
And Morocco. Some of us here, the Moroccan Football Federation flew us from Ghana twice, business class, stayed in Morocco, traveled across like 9 cities in Morocco, observed their facilities. Because of what? They know the impact of media, the magnitude of what we are doing. So if Moroccans do that and I come here and they lose a match, I'm not supposed to write and say they lost gallantly. Like, no, they lost. If there is a problem there, you write. Morocco are doing it. So if my country does that for me, they are not buying my conscience or my conviction. They should understand, except people who don't know what the media's role is. If you take money and you say something has happened, you won't talk. I report favorably a lot. A lot of there are things that.
But the one negative factual. It's not like negative, like they're creating something that doesn't exist. The one negative factual story that you would do, then they hang on it and say, oh, he's always looking.
But Bridget, it's human nature.
Right.
I am a human being. You are. It's always difficult when people are saying negative things about you.
Yeah.
There are two things: negative things that are true and negative things that are false. If they are false, you want to dispute. If they are true, it is between you and your conscience to accept and say, this is true, I need to work on it.
Right.
But people who cannot deal with both, whether they are true or lies, they want to cut you off. If you are that person, you will never grow. And that's what happens with our institutions in this country. You talk against an institution and somebody takes it personal. You cannot grow with that. So we all want the betterment of the game. Nobody reports negatively. If you go on my wall or my show, I can do a content analysis and bring to you the first 7 or 6 stories are positive. Nobody cares.
The one that would be critical.
Yeah. But you cannot always sell ice cream.
Sure. Yeah, and if you want to be liked, yes, then you have to become ice cream because everybody likes sugar. Even sugar can even give you some disease, okay? Yeah. But so here is the thing. How do you then communicate? I mean, you don't owe it to anybody to communicate, but do you try and say, look, I have nothing against you. I mean, they should know, they are supposed to know. And the difficulty I have with them is that they are all former journalists. And they probably even did exactly what young journalists like yourself are doing now. Yeah. So why do you think that journalists, you know, when they get into power, they become the opposite of what they stood for?
I'll be surprised if they have an issue with me, to be very honest. If they have an issue with me, I'll be surprised. Sure. Surprised in the sense that they know me, except that they have heard something that I don't know.
Right.
I have told them countless times that the work that I do, if anybody comes to tell them that they are behind me, they should tell me.
Yeah,
and I
because you can expose that person. I agree.
Yes. I have never been influenced by anybody or institution to do something. When I think that it is right, and you, Bridget, you are doing it, I will join.
I get you.
There are brothers in this industry who will never like you.
Sure. It's true.
As a journalist,
I agree. I get you.
Journalists, not even the administrators. Journalists, they will never like you, and I don't want to be liked by everybody.
I know. So, then you become ice cream. I always say this.
Exactly. So that's the position I hold. But I'll be surprised if the people in authority, there have been people who
they respect you. No, it may seem like you're harder, but deep down they respect you. Yeah. So, for instance, I just want to zone into this, that you're a journalist here, that you're not looking for any negative story. Yeah. Then supporters start rambling and murmuring about the $400 that has not come, and if they don't give us the $400, we will not go to the stadium and cheer the team on. As a journalist, I am not going to talk because I have been brought here and given $1,000. And if you report that, what is negative about your...
That was the 5th day in Ivory Coast, my 6th day. Nobody had ever heard any negative story from the Black Stars.
Right.
Nobody.
Came from the fans. Yeah.
Came from their own manufacture.
Sure.
The people that they brought. So the stories were all positive. Even when we went to the training grounds of the team and we were denied access in a way.
Sure.
We still return with our stories and publish the positive one. The sports journalists in this country are some of the most hardworking on the continent. And it is very evident when we go to the media center. Sure. Everybody is coming to... They say, why do sports journalists in Ghana, you people, you have 800,000 followers. What are you doing there? Why do you have 500,000 followers? Because even from South Africa, maybe they are top sports journalists or two tops, they had like 20,000 people. What do you do? And they ask, why are you always having stories on the big media spaces? Because some people like Dr. Randy Abe, Kurt Okreku, Kwabena Yeboah have led this institution, and we don't need to lower the bar. Exactly what they did. They have been
holding their feet to the fire, like holding them
accountable. Last time I was speaking to my brother, Sani Dara. He said we have written a story that was negative, and I guess went back and when Hasselhoff coach and 2 people resigned, he said Hasselhoff is on the brink of collapse. I said there were 2 people resigning.
He wrote that.
Yeah, so we were laughing about it. When you are in this seat,
yes,
this is how you have to work. If you want to do PR,
it's different.
You go and do your PR.
You can, I mean, you can quit, or you can always quit journalism and do PR.
Exactly.
I mean,
so I'll be surprised, to be honest, if they have an issue with me.
Right. So I want to read this. This was when Saddick Adams tweeted that the GFA account had blocked him. And Gary L. Smith, who's also a senior journalist with the multimedia group, responded that. And I really like this message because it resonates, not just with me, but with everybody. Like, it says, as an institution, the last stakeholders you want massing up against you is the media. The Ghana FA today, led by former journalists, should know this better than most. The aggro against the media since last December from GFA is baffling. Own goal after own goal after own goal. You know what is sad? It is, or was, also avoidable. We will lump them all together, but unfortunately, some people in there are completely against what is going on. They cannot resign, of course, bread and butter issues. They will have to watch as a few people making strange decisions continue to sully all their hard work. I honestly cannot understand how the FA has been so tone deaf to the temperature of the general public for some time now. In sharp contrast, ever since Mustafa Yusuf took over at the sports ministry, they seem to have the pulse of the people at the fingertips. They hardly inflame passions with their speeches, presses are sensitive, and they generally tiptoe carefully around controversies, even when they arise. The GFA could take a cue from the ministry, take a cue from the ministry who has been very tactical about how they deal with the media. The media certainly have our excesses, and we do goof, antagonizing the whole horde of media before, during, and after tournaments ends only one way, always. Anyway, we have a demo to attend. Save Ghana Football. We have a demo to attend on Valentine's Day. Save Ghana Football. I had to read all that. It's from Gary L. Smith. Gary, thank you for those passionate words. And honestly, they were factual about that, because the last institution you really want to attack is the media. They are the 4th estate of the realm. There's a reason why they are given that power to hold institutions accountable. They are not after you as an individual. Yes, as an individual, you can embezzle whatever in your office, but they will come after that institution and then your name will be mentioned. So it's an institution they are coming after, and you for not living up to the responsibilities that was ascribed to you. It's really is that simple.
We are just the interface. The moment we get compromised, the whole country will crash. And when you see that the country is crashing, it means that majority of the media are on the side of the oppressors.
Yeah, I like that. When the majority of the media on the side of the oppressor, yes, they will.
In any institution.
And it means people have lost faith in everything else. So
yes,
now,
because the media is supposed to be the last interface. So if they see white and they say it's black, and majority of them try to convince you that black is white, I mean, if you're a leader.
So on the points that Gary is making, but why do they always come after them? Do they think that the more they antagonize, they blacklist, okay, don't let this person come? I think there was a point where Chris Hutton, ex-coach, said he didn't want, I think, the media either at the training or at the presser. I'm not quite sure. If you can clarify that.
Yeah, I think it was his training camp.
Okay, it was the training camp. Okay.
Training camp, and it's a friendly match. There was a friendly match. He said after the game he doesn't want the media around. And I'm sure that a lot of coaches who come here should be going through orientation together with the players.
Right.
Ghana's football was built with the foundation of the joy, the elation, the emotions of the people.
Yeah.
The Black Stars is driven by emotions. So when they played Nigeria in Kumasi, I told them that Nigeria can never, I told Kurt that Nigeria can never beat us. We will not win here, but we will qualify in Abuja. And I went there. I caused a lot of chaos with Nigeria, Jollof, Ghana, Jollof before the game. It's the emotion of the people.
Yeah.
When they unite and say we are supporting Ghana, we are only 30 million people. We can beat Nigeria continuously in football.
Yeah.
But when the people are divided, but the people are divided based on what the leadership do. See what is happening on social media.
Yeah.
Everybody is angry. But I think that immediately after the AFCON, I suggested that they issue a public apology.
Yeah.
I was in Ivory Coast when
the player started it.
Yes.
The player started it.
The player started it. When I saw the Ivorian sports minister on TV the night they lost 4-0 on TV, and I was asking them, what's he saying? He said he's issuing a public apology on the mainstream news. Now they are in the final.
Yes.
He was apologizing.
The people united against the team.
He sacked, and the people united against the team. Everybody who was angry came back.
Yes.
And then they said, let's forge ahead.
Yeah.
When I said they should disband that committee they set for the search of the coach, because the chairman was the same chairman who led the team in the Ivory Coast.
Right.
You don't do that. When trees fall on trees, the topmost, you remove first. Then you solve what is... No, they went ahead. 9 days after the AFCON exit, 9 days. How many months does it take for... God even used 6 days to create the whole world. So if you use 9 days to think about whether or not you are wrong to issue an apology, there is something wrong.
Yeah.
So I thought that in the heat of the moment, somebody should come on TV.
Yeah.
They will insult you, but apologize and say you are going to...
Because deep down, they'll be like, oh, at least we're patch up.
That is the Ghanaian culture.
At the very least.
Insult somebody, do whatever. Once you get there, you start apologizing, no matter what. When I said this, there are people in there who said, apologize of the FA. I mean, there are people who are around there, the hangers on social media. What have they done wrong? Then when the FA apologized, they were sharing. Then I said, you don't have principles. You say they don't need to apologize. 9 days after, now the essence of the apology is gone.
Because now they can feel, they can literally touch the anger in the air. Now they can touch the anger in the air.
You don't have to let that get to that level with football fans. You don't have to. Abramovich owns Chelsea. He used to own Chelsea. Todd Boehly owned Chelsea. Private property. They publish their account. To who? It's my property. It's my club.
I use my own money to buy.
Yes.
So what is the issue with Ghana football? Because we thought it was Nyantechi, right? Because Nyantechi obviously caught in a scandal. The Anas expose, number 9, saying that the president was in his pocket. I have tons of tweets about him, you know, on that day and beyond. And then he goes away. And then we bring in Kurtz. And the issues are the same. Why? What's going on at the FA?
I think we have structural problems still with the reforms. We fail to put in place some supervisory mechanisms because human beings are human beings. No matter what, they can be compromised. People can be influenced. There is too much money in football. Anybody who tells you contrary is lying.
Right.
From FIFA to CAF, no institution in this world or no work can give Mohamed Kudus from Nima all of a sudden he say he's 50 million pounds. No institution, not even oil and gas. But when you get in there and there is money, I think people get too much fixated with the money, the materials, because they have a short time to stay. People don't want to build legacies.
Right.
That's the problem we have here. Even if I will not enjoy, I want to build the foundation.
Sure.
Ben Kofi did it, went to the AFCON, got eliminated, came to Kotoka Airport. The first interview was that the balance of the budget is in my bag. I'm presenting it back to the ministry.
That's it.
He brought back the money. Now we don't do
that. It shuts everyone up.
It shuts everybody down. The money tends to influence people because you should have a principle to say, let's fix this first. With football, if you fix the fundamental, the money will come from all sources.
Yeah.
But because we are focused on the money that's coming, I think that's what has become the problem. We need a leader who is genuine enough to listen to the sharpest of criticisms.
A leader, you mean FA president?
Yes.
Okay.
FA president and executive committee members.
Okay.
Because if I said, come and apologize, because Tunisia have done it.
Yeah.
Morocco have done it.
Even Ivory
Coast have done it. I'm not insulting you. I'm not trying to burst your ego. I'm just saying this is the right way.
It would help.
Somebody will tell you you have not done anything wrong. 9 days later, you come back and the purpose is lost. So we need leaders who will listen to the sharpest of criticisms. Right. It may hurt. We all hear criticisms. It hurts. Sometimes somebody writes something about me, Bridget. I read it.
It's not true, but they've said it.
Yeah, then I put the phone under my pillow and sleep. It hurts.
Yeah.
Even if it's true. But there are leaders here. I don't know what is in the position. I want to get an office.
So the biggest problem is lack of transparency and no openness with anything that they're doing.
And leadership.
And leadership.
Leadership. And it's not the leaders. for Nyantechi, a very brilliant man, personally.
Sure.
The people around you
also
is always the people around them because they are
no,
the
but
ears.
if you're a leader and you can't pick good followers, then there's a problem with you too.
No. I know people who were journalists who are around Keto Kreku now who have never, ever publicly written that this thing has happened. It may not have happened because of Ket's decision.
Yeah.
But we have to criticize the whole thing so that he knows that he is part.
Sure.
They are journalists.
Okay.
This is what you have to do. When we don't find any negative thing that you have written about it, and it's always praise singing, you are sending the leader into the trenches.
All right. Saddick Adams is actually his full name, real name. Saddick Adams was my guest on One-on-One. A very simple message. They want to see Ghana football change structurally. They want more transparency, openness, allow journalists to write. I mean, and my mind goes to that example of Chris Houghton saying that you don't want any journalists to be at the training. What did that do? It gave them rather more negative coverage. In fact, if he had given them access, they would have just reported, oh, the team trained.
The Nigerian
this
team.
person trained. That's it.
The Nigerian team. Their journalists are always the DR Congo team. Journalists from Ghana went there yesterday, and the players came to speak to them.
That's the thing. So then when you try to cover a negative thing, right, with a wrong approach, it rather blows up and then blows out and then becomes something else that you never anticipated, which is why you should never have covered it in the first place. So show up on the 14th of February, okay, on Valentine's Day. Such a great day that they chose because they love Ghana football. They want Ghana football to move forward. They want Ghana football to change. They want all of us to love and bring the love back, which was the hashtag of the new administration. However, they have not done enough to ensuring that the love is back. In fact, they are rather pulling a lot of people away from it. So show up. If you want to see Ghana football develop, if you want to see Ghana football change, that if you want to see the Black Stars perform well, it comes from these guys who are in charge. So show up on the 14th and let your voice be heard. Saddick, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Have a good evening. See you guys again next week.